After 19 years of calling the United Kingdom his home, an African who lives in the United Kingdom is fighting to stay in the country. This brother, his stay is not hanging in the balance. He said no, he wants to live with the United Kingdom with his family. However, he's battling for his life. Good afternoon. This brother arrived in the United Kingdom 19 years ago and he has been calling this country his home. He claims that he is more British than an African. He said he loves this country. He has done everything to stay in the country. He said he's no longer connected to his home country, that he wants to stay in the country, that he has a daughter in the country. And if he is deported, his daughter will not be able to see him again. And he thinks that that is not fair. However, the Home Office is arguing that what he is saying is not going to hold. Let me know whether you have any sympathy and what your thoughts are as we drill down into the case of this brother. This brother, he has now lived in the UK for about 19 years. However, he first of all came to the UK and he was deported. He was deported back to his own country, and he reappeared in the country with a different identity. He has been living. He then met a girl in the UK, and they have a child together. However, his name is not on the child's birth certificate. And in the United Kingdom, you obtain parental responsibility either through marriage or because your name is on the birth certificate. The woman that had this child with him, they are both from the same country. However, the woman and his daughter, they were granted refugee status in the UK. So this brother, he says he has been initially, when he came back, when the child was growing, he initially was not involved in the child's life. He said him and the woman, they had disagreement. When the woman found out that she was pregnant, and they had disagreement because what the woman was telling him, he didn't want to do it. And because of that, they fell apart for about 6 years. When the child was initially born, he was in Iran. And that is why he claims that his name is not on the birth certificate of the child. When he then reappeared, he has been playing the role of a father, according to this guy, and the woman that has the child. He is the one that supports with collecting the child from school, and he does a lot of activities. He spent a lot of money on this child. He takes the child to ballet, which he pays for. Now, the Home Office, they then found this brother where he was working. When they found him, he was working. They did his fingerprint check. They realized that, Mr. Man, you were deported from the country. Before they did the fingerprint check, they asked for proof of ID. He showed them the proof of ID, and they thought they were dealing with this person on the ID. However, when they then put his finger on the fingerprint, another name then appeared. When the name appeared, you almost said, wow, this is the person. The name on this death birth certificate is not the name that we use to deport this person that shows on our database. So what is happening here? Are you one man living in two bodies? How come your finger shows a different name and the name that you're giving us today is different? That is suspicious. The Home Office say, you know what? I believe there's more to this story. We need to investigate. After a lot of investigation, the guy was arrested. They did not allow him to leave. They then said, okay, now we have now concluded that you don't have the right to be in this country because we sent you back before. How did you come? The guy did not disclose that information to them. That was when the Home Office now said, okay, since you have no business being in this country, we are going to detain you. When they then put him in deportation, His lawyers then contacted the Home Office, the immigration enforcement, and said, you cannot deport this guy. They say, why? He said, the guy has a child in this country. And the law says because he has a child, he has a right to family life. When the Home Office heard that, they say, what? This guy that was deported, now he's come back again. They're now saying he has a child. The lawyer then said, look, if you send this man to his home country, his wife and daughter, the two of them, they cannot visit him in the home country because the woman and the daughter, they were granted refugee status because they are fleeing persecution from their home country. That is when the case became interesting. The Home Office then insisted that this man must be returned back to his home country in Africa, whereas the man was saying to the Home Office that under Article 8, you are going to be hearing Article 8 a lot because Article 8 has been in the news several times. Now, what is this Article 8 that people talk about? You hear politicians say, oh, we need to remove the UK from European Convention of Human Rights because a lot of people are using Article 8 to stay in the country. What is this Article 8? Let me just drill down. Article 8 of the Human Rights protects the right to respect private life, private and family life, home and correspondence. It is not an absolute right, meaning public authorities can interfere with it, but only it is in accordance with the law and the necessary for reason of national security, public safety, and preventing crime. The interference must be proportionate to aim to seek to achieve the right to private life, the right to family life, the right to respect home, and right to respect correspondence. So that basically just means that the law says that the government does not have a power to intervene in the right to family life. And what is this right to family life? A child has a right to family life. A child has a right for the father to be involved or the mother to be involved in the country. So because of this law, the guy took the Home Office to court and said, look, you cannot deport me. So this guy, the Home Office is saying, you are going back because you came before and you're in the country illegal. You're not supposed to be in the country. And the guy is now saying, no, I know I came back illegally. I know you were deported, but my child needs me. Now, the child's school then produced a letter saying that this child is vulnerable and this child relies on her father, that if you send this child, the father back, this child will be significantly impacted, and the judge has to consider what the Home Office is saying, which is we are taking this guy back to his own country. And at the same time, the guy's lawyer and the school, they are arguing that no, the daughter has a right to family life. When the judge then looked at all the completing factors, the judge accepted the evidence, but the judge found that the daughter was vulnerable and accepted that at least the guy is involved in the daughter's life. And because of that, the judge is now saying, I have to make decision. Meanwhile, this guy is now facing decision. Now, what is your view about this Article 8 of the Human Rights? Because some people are saying that a lot of people have exploited it to stay in the country, while some people have said that separating a child who is innocent from the parents, that it is wrong. Meanwhile, this brother, after living in the United Kingdom for 19 years, is still fighting deportation. We don't know if he's going to be allowed to stay in the country or sent back to the home country. But some people have said if the guy did not come to the country after being deported, that his case would have been easier. But because they found his name with another finger, with another ID, that is what makes his case to be a little bit challenging. What is your view? Do you think that the guy should be allowed to stay in the country or should he be deported? Let me know what your views are. The reality is that a brother who came to the UK 19 years ago is now fighting to stay in the country and facing deportation. If you know anyone who is going through any sort of deportation challenges, Article 8, this is just talking about right to family life, and it's something that a lot of people have used before to stay in the country. And what is your view? Let me know what your views are. This brother is facing deportation. Do you have any sympathy for him?